Driving a train at night is nothing like people imagine. To outsiders, it's romantic. The hum of the engine, stars overhead, steel wheels carrying you into the dark. But from the cab, it's just miles of blackness, a narrow cone of headlight carving through the night, and the knowledge that you're responsible for hundreds of lives behind you. I've been a train operator for 14 years. Freight, commuter, cross-country passenger runs. I've done them all. The hardest shifts are the overnight hauls. Less traffic on the rails, sure, but more silence. And in that silence, you hear things, the creak of the couplers, the vibration of steel, the little noises that keep you questioning if something's wrong. That night was one of my long-distance runs. Eastbound, 8 cars, maybe 60 passengers. We'd left the city just past midnight, scheduled to arrive before sunrise. The weather was clear, rails dry, everything normal. By 1:30 a.m., we were deep into rural country. No lights outside, no towns for miles. Just fields and trees rushing past in the dark. I checked the gauges, all steady. The hum of the diesel engine was smooth, almost soothing. That's when the intercom buzzed. It was the conductor in the back. "We've got a situation in car 4. Passengers acting strange." I frowned. Strange how? Pacing the aisle, talking to himself. Other riders are nervous. We asked for his ticket, and he just stared at us. I sighed. Not uncommon. Night trains bring out all kinds. Drunks, runaways, people with nowhere else to go. Still, something in the conductor's tone unsettled me. "Keep an eye on him," I said. "If it escalates, let me know." 15 minutes passed. The rails clicked beneath us in steady rhythm. Then the radio crackled again. "He's gone," the conductor said, voice tight. "Gone where?" "We don't know. He walked toward the end of the car, but he never came into the next one. We checked the whole train. He's not here." A chill crawled up my spine. The doors between cars were locked, standard safety protocol. For him to disappear like that, he'd have had to step off. But we were moving at 70 miles an hour through open countryside. "Search again," I ordered, though my own voice shook. "Top to bottom. He's got to be on board." The conductor didn't answer right away. Then, faintly, we did. "He's not." I gripped the throttle tighter, eyes fixed on the dark rails ahead. Because if the man wasn't on the train anymore, it meant he'd chosen to leave it while it was still in motion. And people don't survive that kind of choice. I sat there in the cab, staring out into the black tunnel of night, my knuckles pale against the throttle. The conductor's words replayed in my head. "He's not here." That wasn't possible. Trains are sealed systems. Every car has locked doors between them, cameras at the ends, and you don't just vanish on a moving train. I grabbed the radio. Checked the restrooms, luggage racks, everywhere. He didn't just disappear. 10 minutes crawled by. The conductor came back, voice hushed. We checked. Every compartment, every seat. He's not on board. A weight pressed into my chest. If the man had somehow forced the door and stepped out, he'd be nothing more than a shadow by the tracks now. But the conductor added something that made my skin crawl. One of the passengers said they saw him kneeling by the emergency panel. Said he was messing with it. My stomach turned cold. The emergency panel's house brake lines, power couplings, electrical systems. Nothing a passenger should ever touch. Did he damage anything? I asked. "We don't think so, but there's more." The conductor hesitated. When we found his bag under his seat, it was empty, except for wire cutters and duct tape. I swore into my breath. Suddenly, this wasn't a missing drunk or a runaway. This was something else. Something worse. The radio crackled again, louder this time. "Cab, this is car 6. We've got lights flickering and a door that won't latch." I flipped to the diagnostics. Sure enough, voltage fluctuation was spiking across 2 cars. Not fatal to the train, but dangerous if left unchecked. And then, just as quickly, another report. Car 2. Same problem. Lights cutting in and out. A pattern. Systematic. I realized then that maybe the passenger hadn't jumped at all. Maybe he was still here, tucked away somewhere, cutting wires, pulling circuits. And if he was sabotaging the train from the inside, I had 60 sleeping passengers depending on me to stop it. I pushed the throttle lower, easing us down from 70 to 50. The rails groaned in protest, sparks flashing briefly as the brakes caught. The intercom buzzed one more time, urgent and clipped. "Engineer, this is car 4 again. We just found the emergency exit door open." My blood ran cold. If the man really had left the train, it meant he'd jumped at speed into the dark. But if he hadn't, then he was still out there, moving between cars in the shadows. And we were trapped with him until the next stop, 2 hours away. I eased the train down another notch. At 50 miles an hour, we were still moving fast. But at least if something went wrong, the damage might be less catastrophic. My palms were slick on the controls. "Lock the cars," I ordered through the radio. "No one moves between them without clearance. If anyone sees him, you report, you don't engage." The conductor's voice came back, shaky. "Understood. But what if he's the one opening them?" That was the question chewing at my gut. The emergency release latches weren't complicated. With the right tools, wire cutters, duct tape, determination, you could get through them. And if he was doing it while the train was moving, he didn't care about his own life. The radio crackled again. A different voice this time, younger, probably one of the assistants. "Car 5 reporting. We found cuts in the wiring panel. He's trying to kill the lights." I swore, my throat tight. "Secure that panel. Use tape, anything. Just keep the system stable." "Copy." I switched on the rear view cameras from the cab. Most of the feeds were dim and grainy, but car 4 caught my eye. For a second, I swore I saw movement, a shadow slipping between rows of seats. Too quick, too deliberate to be a passenger stretching their legs. I leaned closer. "Car 4, check the rear section now." Static answered me. Then a burst of yelling. "He's here!" A voice shouted, muffled by distance. He dashed the feed cut. "Just snow." I slammed the comms. "Car 4, report." "What's happening?" "Nothing. Just the hiss of an open line." The passengers must have woken up because a low hum of panic spread down the intercom. People asking questions, demanding to know why the lights were flickering, why staff were shouting. I wanted to hit the brakes, stop the whole damn train in the middle of nowhere, call it in, and wait for police. But stopping out here, in pitch-black country, with no backup and 60 frightened passengers, felt like handing this guy exactly what he wanted. I forced myself to think. If he wanted to damage the systems, there were 3 critical points he could target: the brake lines, the electrical bus, or the coupling between cars. Any one of those would cripple us. The problem? They were all outside access points, which meant he wasn't hiding in the cabins anymore. He was moving along the outside of the train. My pulse hammered as I pictured it. A man clinging to the steel, wind tearing at him, waiting for the right moment to strike. I pulled the radio one last time, voice hard. "Everyone, stay in place. I'll get us to the next yard." Nobody tries to be a hero. But as I said it, the whole train shuddered violently, a metallic scream echoing through the cars. Warning lights flared across my panel. He wasn't waiting anymore. He was cutting straight into the brakes. The panel in front of me lit up like a Christmas tree. Brake line pressure dropping, alarms screaming. My gut clenched. If he severed the main line, the entire train would go into emergency stop. At this speed, that meant cars slamming into each other, derailment may be worse. I yanked the mic conductor. He's on the brake line. I'm losing pressure. Chaos erupted in the background, voices overlapping, passengers shouting. Finally, the conductor's voice cut through. "We can't reach him. He's outside, between cars." I swore and forced the throttle down. The engine groaned as we bled speed, the rails shrieking in protest. 50 miles an hour. 45. Still too fast. The lights flickered again. For a few seconds, the cabin went pitch black, only the faint glow of emergency LEDs guiding me. My own reflection looked back from the windshield, pale and wide-eyed. Then the power kicked back in, panels humming to life. Somehow, the bastard hadn't managed to kill it all. Yet, the radio crackled again. It was one of the assistants, voice breathless. I saw him, between cars 3 and 4. He's trying to open the junction panel. I scanned the exterior cameras. The feed was grainy, the angle poor, but I caught just enough, a shape clinging to the side of the train, coat whipping in the wind, one hand gripping the steel ladder, the other pulling at wires with something sharp. My heart pounded. He wasn't panicked. He wasn't desperate. He looked like a man on a job. I dropped the train to 30, teeth rattling with every deceleration jolt. Any faster, and he'd cut us apart. Any slower, and I'd be a sitting duck. Listen to me. I barked into the radio. Get everyone back from cars 3 and 4. Now, move them forward, keep them calm. If he severs that coupling, no one should be near it. The conductor acknowledged, yelling at passengers in the background. I stared at the screen, tried to will the man to slip, to lose his grip. But he moved like he'd done this before. Smooth. Practiced. Suddenly, sparks flew across the feed as he tore at the junction with his tool. Wires flared, lights inside the train sputtered, alarms wailed louder. The radio filled with screams. A child crying. Someone shouting, "He's going to kill us." I slammed both palms on the controls, adrenaline buzzing through my veins. This wasn't sabotage for fun. He knew exactly where to cut, exactly what to disable. And unless I stopped him, 60 people were about to die in the dark. The alarms screamed louder, red lights flashing across my panel. Brake pressure dropping, coupling integrity unstable. One more pull of his tool, and the cars behind me could separate, tearing 60 people into chaos. I forced the throttle forward, surging the train to 40 again. The engine roared. My gamble was simple. Shake him off. The train jolted over a seam in the tracks, metal clanging. I checked the exterior feed. He was still there, crouched against the wind, hands locked on the steel like claws. I cursed. Whoever this man was, he wasn't some random lunatic. He was trained. The conductor's voice burst through, panicked. "We can't hold the passengers. They're screaming, what do we do?" "Keep them forward." I shouted, "Away from the couplings. Lock the interior doors if you have to." I pulled the emergency override key from the panel and twisted it. A deep hiss rattled through the train as I rerouted auxiliary power, blasting a surge through the electrical lines. It wasn't designed for combat, but I prayed the current would arc through the panel he was tampering with. The camera feed flared white. Sparks exploded where he crouched. He jerked back, his grip loosening for the first time. The train rattled again, and I saw his silhouette slip. For a heartbeat, I thought he'd climb back. Then, with one final jolt, his body vanished into the darkness beside the rails. The alarms leveled. Brake pressure steadied. Coupling integrity stable. Silence filled the cab except for the low, steady hum of the engine. My chest ached as I forced air into my lungs. The conductor came back, voice trembling. Is it over?" I swallowed hard. For now. We didn't stop until the next yard. Police boarded, evacuated the passengers, swept the train. They found nothing but a burned set of pliers wedged in the junction. No body along the rails. No ID. No trace. For weeks, I replayed it in my head. His calm movements. The precision of his cuts. The way he never looked scared. Whoever he was, he hadn't been some random vagrant. He'd known exactly how to cripple a train. And I can't shake the thought that maybe this wasn't the first time he tried. Or the last. Thanks for listening. That's how this story ended. With one man's sabotage, 60 lives at risk, and a train that almost never reached its destination. Have you ever trusted a stranger, only to realize too late they had other plans? Share your story in the comments. Someone out there needs to hear it. And if this one had your pulse racing, don't forget to like and subscribe. More real stories, raw, haunting, and unforgettable, are coming soon.